Baby, you want to talk about a woman who is outspoken, a woman who stands up and makes herself known? That's our next guest, America Ferrera, that one right there. Is an outspoken advocate. Enlisted celebrities, athletes, writers, and many more from immigrant families to share their journeys in the new book, American Like Me. Please welcome one of those stand-up women, America Ferrera. Hey, baby. You're a fan and supporter of Dr. Ford. What'd you see yesterday?
I saw so many things. I saw a committee of white men be angry, and I wanted to say to them, I take your anger and I raise you millions of women and decent men in this country who are also angry and furious. Right. And I know you've all been speaking all morning beautifully about what's been going on. The thing that I heard this morning from Lindsey Graham's remarks is that committee that you showed of those men, they're keeping their eye on that prize. How do they keep that room looking like that?
That's what I said.
And the only power that we as the people have in this moment is to change what that view looks like.
Yeah.
And we have a midterm election coming up in this moment. They're already sending out the dog whistle. If you heard Lindsey Graham this morning, he said, if we're still the majority, if I'm still here, if Grassley's still here, they know. They're already saying to their supporters, you like how this is going? You want to see this keep going this way? Make sure you keep us in positions of power. So the only power that we have right now to do with our anger is to show up and to vote. And actually right now I want to say that it's almost noon here on the East Coast, and there are actions happening noon local time across the country. People are showing up at their senator's office demanding that they vote no on Kavanaugh. So that's an action that we can take right now. And in a couple months, the action we can take is to show up at the midterm elections and vote and use our voice with our vote.
Can I just say this one thing I saw? Graham, Grassley, and Hatch, three of them, all opposed reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act in 2013. Okay, that's from the Atlantic magazine. That's the source. Okay, this is who's deciding the fate of American women.
I keep saying this, and people might seem it sounds incredibly dramatic, but doesn't this feel like the prequel to The Handmaid's Tale?
Yes.
Like,
we're afraid to watch
this is it. It was like, oh, you ask yourself, how did it get that bad? This is it. It didn't happen in the dark. It didn't happen in a basement. It happened in plain sight for all of us to see. They will make everything legal. They will take away our rights, and they'll actually take away the importance of our vote. So we better start using it before we don't have it.
That's right.
Absolutely. You know, we want to get to your book. We definitely want to get to your book. But the one thing that I'm curious about, your opinion, 104, the RAIN, which is the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, the hotline saw a 147% increase in calls yesterday compared with a normal weekday. And the Safe Horizon Rape and Sexual Assault Hotline, I'm a board member, has seen about a 40 to 50% increase in the same time period. Does that surprise you that so many more women saw Dr. Ford and said, this happened to me too?
No, absolutely not. I think that is exactly the moment we're living in right now in history. People finding their voice because we as women are standing with one another and creating a community, whether that's online, whether that's in person, whether that's on broadcast media. We're saying we will no longer be isolated from one another and stay silent and alone. I am a survivor of sexual assault. I wasn't brave enough to speak about what happened to me to my own family until last year.
I don't think you should say you weren't brave enough.
Well,
it's not really about
Well, I'm not speaking about anybody else and anyone else's bravery. I'm talking about mine. I'm saying I was stuck for decades in silence because I was ashamed of what happened to me. I blamed myself for what happened to me. I told myself it didn't matter what happened to me. I told myself it wasn't as bad as it could have been, so I should just swallow it and move on because it could have been worse. And I have that experience in my bones and in my body, and so many of us do. And what I'm saying is, of course, one woman speaking out the way that Dr. Ford did, so courageously, so beautifully, so much more composed than I could ever imagine being in that scenario. We thank you, Dr. Ford. You are a hero.
Yeah.
Thank
you for
I
sharing
can't imagine
your story. Thank you for sharing
Can we start a
that.
movement called Unstuck?
Unstuck.
Called what?
It's so
Unstuck, because you
Unstuck.
just said something, and I like the conversation because it's not that you weren't brave, you were stuck. Let's start a movement called Unstuck.
And frightened
Abby.
also. You were probably frightened of what would happen if you opened your mouth.
Well, you know that video today of the women speaking to Senator Flake? Watch it if you haven't seen it. He's
we
in the
haven't saw it later,
elevator, and they're speaking to him, and he's just averting his eyes and waiting for
He's
the elevator
scared.
door to close. That is what happens to us when we come forward, all survivors. The elevator door is closed. No one wants to hear the truth. This committee doesn't want to hear
Well,
the truth.
in his defense, and we'll show it maybe later.
I think we have the tape.
I think we have
Okay,
it
let's
clipped.
watch it.
Yeah.
We have it.
On Monday, I stood in front of your office with Addie Barkan. I told the story of my sexual assault. I told it because I recognized in Dr. Ford's story that she's telling the truth. What you are doing is allowing someone who actually violated a woman to sit in the Supreme Court.
And nobody believed me. I didn't tell anyone, and you're telling all women that they don't matter, that they should just stay quiet, because if they tell you what happened to them, you're going to ignore them. That's what happened to me, and that's what you're telling all women in America, that they don't matter.
That was a
Wow.
dropping moment.
Yeah.
Well, this
For
guy's
everyone
a
watching.
problem because he wants to run for president. That's why.
And he just said he was
he's
gonna
sort of
vote for
retired.
Kavanaugh. He
Yeah,
just said he
said
And
he
he's
voted
a
for Kavanaugh.
deciding vote to get it out of the committee. So
He's
that's a
tease.
very big
He's
deal.
a tease.
And it
He
looks like
acts
the whole
he's-
time he was pressing the elevator
it.
door close button, which is what they want to do to all of us. Close. Just press the close button. Shut them
Yeah.
up.
Well, you know what happens. You close us down, we come out somewhere else. That's just the way it is. More with America Ferrera when we come back.